Yeah, definitely. Okay, this is now it's time for something completely different.
Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Conway Twitty.
Yeah. So anyway, welcome. 4 minutes late, but I think that's doing pretty good.
Oh, well, it wouldn't be Untitled Nerd Network if we weren't late.
Mm-hmm. And so, um, welcome. I'm Lonnie,
I'm Amberlicious.
and of course, you're watching the Title Nerd Network. And unless I'm pretty sure if you're watching us, you already knew that, but you know,
I mean, you know.
this is Roll for Intimacy.
Yep.
Yeah, like that was actually a fan suggestion. This is basically going to be. Um, this is a project that I've had in some form.
Forever.
Oh my God! It's long as I
Literally.
started the page, really, over
Forever.
5 years, and I've been wanting to do like a talk show about you know sexual inadequacies, and relationships, and issues people have, and wanted to get on here on a Saturday. Now, we're not normally going to be able to do this on a Saturday night, but I figured that our premiere episode would be really awesome to have on a Saturday.
Yep.
So, yeah, Saturday night, 8 o'clock, prime time. Chances are, if you're not running around out somewhere, hey, at home on a Saturday night's the perfect time for a
It really is.
a talk
It
show
really
like
is.
this.
The chairman is here on YouTube. Hey,
Hello.
good evening.
Welcome. I decided to do this without any kind of like video or anything. Because number one, like us being on camera isn't really a big deal on this. This isn't like a game stream or anything.
Right.
I'd rather keep the focus not on us, but on the issues that.
Oh, Chloe's in the Facebook chat, and she says this is totally what she needed.
Awesome.
I'm so glad for that.
Well,
You know,
well,
y'all don't have to call in if you don't want to. Y'all can just put questions in the chat if you like.
yeah, absolutely.
It's-
I'm not gonna beg anybody to call in. That's
Right.
like everybody has their own comfort levels and what they want to.
I personally hate calling people. I ain't doing anything like that. So
But
chat would be it for me, you know.
I thought it'd be pretty cool to have both, not just a bunch of men sitting around talking,
Right.
give everybody an opportunity to have somebody that they're comfortable talking to. Like neither of us, I think it's pretty known that neither of us are like heteronormative. So we're
Right.
like, you can call in and ask about, same sex anything. And
Oh, James said Barry at 626 checking in.
James and I have been playing Fortnite. And we're both Loki, and so we came up with an idea that it's going to be Loki variants. Like that's the story.
And of course, 626, that's Stitch.
Yeah, and I
Stitch.
didn't get that, and it had to all be explained to me. So
It'd be that way. I told him you weren't big on Disney songs and all.
I saw that. But we're absolutely down. Like if anybody wants to call in, if you want to type something in the chat, like if you're having issues, you want to know how to please a woman. Either one of us can answer that one.
Right. we love all the genders. We love all genders. We're
Yeah.
all genders friendly.
um, I will say, like, our top two topics tonight, as far as if we don't get a single call or a single question, the top topics tonight, and we're planning on going until about 8:30, maybe a little bit more, and it really just depends on how active everything is as to whether we stay in it or not any longer. But the two big topics that I want to talk about today are both non-monogamy, which is anything outside of just two people being together, and what was the other one?
We were going to talk about kink shaming.
Kink shaming, yes, because I've seen it's almost like the more stuff becomes acceptable to talk about, the more people are going to rise up and say, well, all like BDSM is good, except okay, that
Right.
stuff's a little. You know, I'm like, no, we're not about that here.
Consenting adults is consenting adults is consenting adults. If they're not hurting anyone that doesn't want to be hurt, and then they're not involving people who don't want to be involved, then they're fine. You know?
Oh yeah, and I do want to remind everybody that no, neither one of us are licensed sex therapists or anything.
No, but I consider, to be somewhat knowledgeable on the subject.
Oh yeah, me too. Like,
You work in the field,
Yeah.
so to speak. Won't name names, but you work in the field. I I'm really involved in our local poly community. I'm an admin for the local group, and I'm a part of some kink groups, but I've not actually, been able to go to a much yet.
Yeah.
So to be like kind of vetted in or anything, but I like to educate myself on it.
That's like, we're actually going to be going to something similar to that tomorrow. Actually.
Tomorrow is the local poly group is having a poly potluck, as we call it, and picnic. Love alliterations. Anyway, and a small group of us are going to get together. It's our first one since COVID was really bad, although it looks like it may be getting bad again, but it might be the last one we have for a while.
Yeah.
But it is outdoors, and we are going to, I think we can wear masks if we like, that sort of thing. We are going to be social
outdoors
distancing.
with a mask, it's going to suck.
Right.
Oh
But it
my
is
God.
supposed to be kind of cool tomorrow, thank goodness.
Okay, sweet.
Another fellow admin posted in the event that the weather should be okay. It's going to be cloudy.
Have you ever been to one of the polyamory
I have.
picnics?
I
Pretty cool.
have. I really liked it, yes. Because I kind of got to, me, I like to mingle around to different groups. Because,
Yeah.
everybody kind of sat with certain people, and, alright, I'm going to go sit here and eat. And then I'm going to come over here and talk to this group and that sort of thing. I've been to that, and we did a meeting at City Cafe once that I went to. And Steak and Shake
Okay.
that I went to. Steak and Shake was kind of awkward. I was having a weird social thing anyway, anxiety and stuff, but otherwise I'm pretty good. So, I know some faces that I'm familiar with and I'm friends with on Facebook. It's going to be a lot of fun tomorrow.
Just in
I'm
case
excited.
somebody doesn't know, me and Amber are a couple.
Right.
We do practice non-monogamy, so we do see other people. Like occasionally, I do have, other partners here on the channel with me. Not as often as I used to.
Right. It's just not working out that way.
Yeah.
But, I mean, it is what it is. What do you do? I think you have finally learned that, like, really you need to date someone that's already kind of in the lifestyle.
Yes.
I think this last time may have educated you on that.
Yeah, pretty much.
I've already learned that myself. And it's going to have to be somebody pretty fucking special outside of the lifestyle for me to consider it. Just because it's like, yeah, I'm interested, but then, you figure out it's not for you.
Yeah.
And that's fair. I mean, that's valid it's just not something I can deal with.
The stakes are way too high there. Like the chances of it not working out, like, increase substantially when you have a traditionally non-monogamous person with a lot of experience in that brings somebody in for a first-time experience, and it's hit or miss.
It is.
Yeah.
And it's just not. The misses are too much for me.
Yeah.
They really are. They're too much for me. Especially if I get emotionally involved, and it's too much. Now, other people are maybe they're more emotionally stable than I am. I don't know. But they're able to deal with it better if it just doesn't happen for them.
It almost feels like maybe you're callous,
Should I be worried?
Wow. I'm not,
I don't know if she should be worried or not, James. to me, like, do they do it in front of you without asking? Because that's fucking weird. Because consent involves everybody. And if you do that in front of somebody, and I feel like you didn't discuss beforehand that you were going to do with that in front of somebody, you're like violating their consent to be involved in whatever kink that may be, you know?
Well, just because we are broadcasting simultaneously across YouTube, Facebook, and Twitch, probably would be a service to like read James's. We'll be reading the comments.
It's probably an idea, huh?
Yeah.
You read it.
But James says, I have a quote unquote friend whose wife keeps dumping water on his crotch, saying, "If I water it, I will come. Should I be worried, or should he be worried?" Yeah. Wink. Wink.
Don't worry.
I'm not going to call anybody out like that. I just know James very well. So.
Right.
If you call in with a question like that, I'm not going to put you on the spot.
Right.
No. But yeah, definitely. Like, seriously. And I mean, probably the number one question
Annie.
that I hear, because I always, but when I've thought about doing this kind of show before, but unfortunately it just never got off the ground. Well, here we are, finally doing it, finally. And in the past I've been like, hey, if I'm doing this kind of show, what kind of questions would you have? It seems like the number one question that outpaces all the other questions put together is usually from a guy. And it's, I'm having a horrible time finding a date, haven't dated anybody in 6 months or a year, something like that. How do I get a woman to like me or talk to me? That is the number one question.
I could say that. I've been asked that from, friends that are identify as male. You know? I've been asked that a lot. It's like, hey, how can I get a woman to look at me or to talk to me? And usually the most I can tell them is, because to be fair, it's usually coming from somebody who is in a bad mental health space when I get those questions. Now, I don't know about when you get those questions, if that's the case.
I feel like it might be a good possibility,
but
not all the time.
Usually the people who ask me, I know them well enough to know they're not in a good headspace. And you can't date and not be in a good headspace. Period. It doesn't matter what your gender is.
Yeah.
Not date seriously anyway. I mean, if you want to do hookups and stuff like that, it might be easy depending on the person. But I'm like, I know it's cliche, but you really gotta kind of work yourself. You gotta work on yourself a little bit. Also, if you have bad self-confidence, a lot of people who represent themselves as women are going to be like, they don't have a lot of confidence in themselves. You know, it's one thing to build somebody up and make them feel good. It's another to do all the work and build them up completely. You've got to do some of the work yourself. Like you do. So you got to work on your mental health and your self-confidence. And then once you do that, you're going to feel better about approaching women. And when you approach them, they're going to respond.
Yeah.
I mean, that's about it, you know.
I'll tell you, I've been there, and I've seen it firsthand, and I've never really thought about it. But, there was a time, where I struggled to get dates and stuff like that. And the big thing was I probably could have, been taking a little bit better care of myself. I could have, not stared at the ground so much, stuff like that.
Absolutely.
Just little things, little tiny bits of body language, whether you mean to throw it out there or not. People notice. And if you ever say that people don't notice body language.
Oh, they do.
Yeah.
Especially if they're empathetic like me. I pick up on all the body language.
Yeah, I read this article that was like if you go into, like, they've done studies about this, which is freaking weird. If you go into a room and just stand there perfectly still, don't look around, don't talk, don't laugh, don't do anything like that, just stand there perfectly still, that people will begin gravitating away from you.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's just a subconscious thing. Nobody ever, but there's a space around you when you just shut down. And when you're in a bad headspace like that, you do those things that I did. You know, you look at the ground, you slouch a lot, you don't talk to people, you don't even make eye contact, you know, that kind of thing. And I mean, crap, I've even gotten better socially in the past 10 years we've known each other.
Yes.
Like, I've opened up a ton compared to what
Yes.
I used to be.
Yeah.
But that's the thing, you got to be open. You can't let somebody in if you don't open the door.
Right.
And,
Absolutely.
You know, and not only that, but it's like, you know, your body, I guess, is like a house. You don't want to invite somebody over for the first time, you know, when your house is, you know, in an unkept state and all this other stuff. So you have to take care of yourself and have to, you know, put a little bit of effort into it.
Yeah.
I feel like
Hygiene goes a long way.
a lot of society these days, I think, are just, they're disconnected from giving a shit.
Yeah.
And if you don't give a shit,
Here's the thing: you could not give a shit, but you gotta give a shit about yourself.
yeah,
You do.
because people will pick up on it, especially somebody. You know, if you're wanting to date somebody, have a relationship with somebody, they're going to be looking for every little thing to make sure that you're up to their standards for dating. You know, you can't expect somebody to just drop all their standards and be like, "Well, you know, you look like you deserve it." You know, that's
Right. When has that worked for anybody? You know?
Yeah. One thing I've always wondered, and that is, how many times in the history of cell phones has a dick pic worked?
It's never worked for me. Not unsolicited, anyway.
Yeah, I'm like,
Unsolicited, never worked.
I think,
If I asked for it, though.
you know, it's bad though, because unsolicited dick pics, I think, are really just a sign. In a way, it's a sign of abuse.
Oh, it's a red flag for me, for sure. If I didn't ask you to send that, what else are you going to do that I didn't ask you to do?
Yeah.
That, I mean,
Absolutely.
what else am I mean, I always tell people when it comes to dating and red flags and that sort of thing, it always starts as something small. Every time.
Absolutely, it does.
It always starts with something small. It is as little as sending an unsolicited dick pic. You did not ask for it. If you don't say, hey, I'm not okay with that, or hey, don't do that, and set that boundary, or, you know, hey, just my opinion, advice, block them and be done, because I don't play that shit. But
Yeah, it's funny.
that's not everybody's.
Yeah, I was gonna say, you talk to a lot of people who would rather complain about the problem than do something about it.
It's like, block them, they ain't worth your time. You're not that invested. There's nothing wrong with blocking somebody who does shit like that.
Yeah.
You don't owe them nothing. I understand if, like, you're just not feeling a vibe. There's a difference between you're just not vibing with this person, you don't feel like it's going anywhere. Then, yeah, tell them. But if they're doing shit like that, block them.
Yeah.
That's my, I mean, I don't know anybody else, but I'm old and I don't have time for that. I do not. I don't have time to waste my time
we
on
define
bullshit.
old as late 30s, so yeah.
You know? Too old. I can't.
So I've noticed something.
Well, hold on. Let me elaborate on one more thing.
Okay.
Because, you know, we just talked about dick pics, but when I say little things, it's little things. For instance, I had a friend, I won't mention names, who was dating a guy who they were talking about maybe possibly a future. And he had told her, you'll know who this is, but don't say their name.
I won't.
But this person has a lot of artwork and prints all over their wall. And some of it is like pin-up style art.
Old style racy photos.
Yep. Her bedroom has actual pictures of Playboy models, signed autographs, and that sort of thing. And the guy said, if we were to ever move in together, that stuff's going to have to come down. It's not appropriate for children. It desensitizes them. And some of it's going to have to come down. And, of course, I immediately told her, I said, it's not like it's sex acts or nudity. You know, it's, most cis-het men are uncomfortable with the female form expressing themselves like that. And I'm like, it's a little thing. He wants to see if he can get you to do that. If he can get you to do that, what else can he get you to do? That's a big part of your person.
Yeah.
I was like,
mold you into something else.
Block him. That's what I said. But I was like, nah, you need to cut that off right now. And he, they had been dating a few weeks, and she was like, looks like you had said something early on. It's weird. And I was like, no, they wanted you to get comfortable first. That's how manipulators work.
Yeah, absolutely. They want you to have a vested interest in them.
And then see what they can get away with.
Yeah, there's nothing to lose. But, I spent time with this guy. Maybe I need to drop everything for him and do what he says.
Right.
Hello, Angie.
Angie.
In between segments here.
Angie's here.
I want to let everybody know our number here in the United States is we're actually doing this live right now. If you're watching and it's live, you can call right now. Now, granted, if you're watching this and it's pre-recorded later, probably won't have any luck unless I'm just bored sitting next to the computer. And even then, I'll probably tell you to leave your name and number at the sound of the beep. But
right, they could be answered next time. Hell.
But the number is 423-509-8409.
Yeah.
Moving on. And remember, we'll stop in the middle of a conversation if we get a call or a message in the chat. We'll answer what we've got.
Absolutely.
But I wanted to talk about kink shaming. And here's the thing. I'm going to wager to say
kink shaming is only okay when that's your kink. In that case, you're a dirty, dirty kink liker.
Well, it's to the point where porn and like toys and all kinks and stuff are becoming more and more and more socially acceptable with every passing day. And what I've noticed lately, the biggest kink shamers out there are sex workers. That is messed up. Not all sex workers. I'm not. But from what I've seen,
I think it just depends on the sex worker. Like I think it is a good chunk of sex workers.
Yeah.
I'll agree to that.
It's enough to create an unfair stereotype for the ones that don't do it.
Right.
Because it's kind of like I spent some time backstage at local pro wrestling shows. 90% of the wrestlers I met were full of shit. Thinking so highly of themselves. I'm the best guy here. Blah blah blah. And that's kind of what I see. I follow probably about 600 sex workers on Twitter, and a ton of them will kink shame. Like, this is the kind of stuff I do, but that thing that other woman does, no.
Well,
no.
What they like to shit on the most.
Huh?
The kink they like to shit on the most.
The littles.
Barely lingual and littles and all that. Lolitas.
That was right where I was going with that. And here's what I saw people complained about the most in regards to that. Apparently, in anime, there are a lot of protagonists, antagonists, whatever, who are teenage girls. A lot of times in the 13 to 17-year-old range. And then in turn, you get cosplayers who like to dress up as them. Now, every cosplayer I'm mentioning here is 18 plus. You get cosplayers who are 19, 20, 30, 40 years old who like to dress up as these 12, 13-year-old animated characters. And then sometimes they do lewd, nude, even X-rated stuff. And then these people are saying that it glorifies, like, pedophilia. You know, with, like, younger girls. And I'm like, not really. Like...
there's a difference between consenting adults and people who are grooming. Like, you know.
But they don't say the exact same thing. If you're going to apply that flawed logic, then people would say, well, you know, everybody who is into furries is a straight up bestiality.
And there's lots of people that say that.
There are, and it's,
you know,
it's absolutely stupid.
That's just, and I'm like, no, they're in a fucking costume and they're consenting adults. Like, it has no bearing on your life. It's not affecting the children.
Yeah.
You know? It's dumb. So dumb.
And yeah, it is crazy. I mean, and again, I know a lot
I'm
of
not
sex
saying
workers who are really cool
Yeah.
and would never think that, but it's a real problem in the community.
Right. And I'm not saying that those people don't exist that might come across that kind of content and use it for malicious intent. I am not saying those people don't exist, but by God, if they want it, they'll find it.
That's going to be like...
You know, they're not going to stop doing it if the community stops doing that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They'll just find something else.
It doesn't matter what the, like, it don't. Like, it, I don't know. It's really, really, I don't know. For some reason, I've noticed it more this week. I don't know why. But I've noticed it more now than I ever have. And it bothers me.
Not to mention, due to the field I work in, we are required to do at least one child abuse training a year. And, of course, sexual abuse is a big one. And, like, do predators use grooming techniques? Yes, sometimes. But a lot of times, it's more like it's your neighbor who you've been friends with forever, working their way into your family, building your trust, and then breaking it.
Yeah.
Like, that's how sexual abuse happens most times. Or it's your uncle that you had no clue. It's not these people who watch this stuff and think, oh, I'm going to go show this to a child and have my way with them. That's not how that works.
Yeah.
People are genuinely uneducated on the subject is what it is. Like, their hearts might be in the wrong place, but they're not educated about it, and they're being idiots about it.
Yeah, and like I said, you know, people doing that, you know, this kind of porn does not inhibit, you know, pedophiles. You know, it doesn't, I don't know what the word I'm looking for, but, you know, it doesn't promote that.
Right.
Any more than, like, you can't blame, you know, that kind of porn for pedophiles any more than you can blame BDSM porn for men who strangle women to death.
Right.
You know, I mean, there's always people who are going to take it to the extreme, And knowing limits, in your own personal deal is, what keeps that kind of crap from, I don't know, it's a, I don't know, I've just been freaking worked up about that crap because it almost feels like Twitter's been full of it lately.
Mm-hmm. It's the new thing to be outraged about, I think.
It is. I really do think that's the case.
It's been around, but like here lately, it's been more prominent.
And I think a big part of it is because anime has become such a mainstream thing in the States now. Mm-hmm. It's not just a little fringe, segment of pop culture. Now there's entire sections of the DVD case at Walmart for it. Mm-hmm. You can go up there right now and get Dragon Ball Z, Bleach, Naruto,
mm-hmm.
all kinds of stuff. My Hero Academia, that kind of stuff. That was the one that the individual that I saw was specifically talking about was My Hero Academia. Apparently, like a lot of the characters are like freshmen in high school or something. Mm-hmm. And then, of course, that is a very popular anime to cosplay from. And there are lots of your X-rated cosplayers who are doing, that kind of stuff.
Betty's on. Hey, Betty.
Hello, Betty.
We miss you too.
Welcome.
I wave and stuff to the camera like we're on camera. That's so funny. I forget. I'm waving to the camera like we're on it. This is audio only.
You just you came in right towards the tail end of our first episode of Roll for Intimacy, where we're talking about all the best relationship sexual advice.
Yeah.
It's been fun so far, though.
I'm having a good time. I love it.
Absolutely. Anything to kind of share with people, and when people have issues, I feel like with great power comes great responsibility.
Right. Do you think that here's something else talking about what we were talking about as far as the characters are freshmen in high school. You shouldn't sexualize them. Okay, here's the thing though. Even if we'll just say everybody today stop sexualizing those characters.
Okay.
We'll stop. That doesn't change the fact that humans in real life are sexual beings at that age.
Yeah.
And they're gonna still have to deal with their hormonal issues and body image and this, that, and this. And, they're gonna have to be educated in sex regardless. Because I really think that these people who are, shaming on this are also probably the same ones that think you shouldn't have sex education in school. Or at least there's a Venn diagram connecting both the groups.
Pretty big show.
But God, if you don't educate them, they are going to make bad decisions.
Yeah.
And that sort of thing.
Yeah, that's true. Cause crap,
And then they do end up being exploited, but it's because we didn't educate them about the stuff.
Yeah, and dang, whenever I was in high school, there was always that stigma about, buying condoms and stuff. I feel like in a different area. Hey, Betty donated this.
I was going to say, Betty donated 500 stars.
Thank you, Betty.
Thank you. We appreciate that.
Very much. I'm just happy we're on at a time where you can listen.
Right. It's great.
I typically stream in the afternoons during the weekdays, and we get a whole other audience when we do stuff on Saturday nights or on the weekends.
Yeah. Hell, just at night in general, really.
Yeah.
But, anyways. But yeah, it's educate these children so it don't happen to them. Telling these cosplayers and adult stars not to do this stuff because, their kink or genre makes you uncomfortable is not the way to prevent this,
That is true. There are kinks that make me uncomfortable, but I would never tell somebody what they could and couldn't do.
Right. And you know what? If somebody else was trying to kink shame a kink that I'm not into, I'm going to stand up for them and be like, hey, don't shame them. It's their kink. May not be for you. But don't sit there and act like you're better than them because that's not something you would do.
Hello, Christopher. Welcome to the stream. I thought it was Neo Beowulf there for a minute.
I did
Nerds.
because he says nerds, but he's streaming right now, so that's why he's not on.
Oh, okay. Well, he's really missing a hell of a show.
He is, isn't he?
He would have had a great time with this one.
Oh yeah, he would have. Well, this is not going to be our last though.
No, it won't. Matter of fact, from now on, unless I'm free on a like Friday or Saturday night, we will very likely be doing this like on Saturday afternoon.
Yeah.
You know, around 2 p.m. or something like that. That's kind of the plan going forward. I haven't really settled on an exact time, but I do know it'll be on Saturday afternoon.
Yeah.
We'll figure that out. Probably going to do it early enough to where I don't have to worry about it making me late for work, but late enough to where I don't have to wake up early to do it. So there's a magic number in there somewhere.
Yeah, we'll find that happy medium, I'm sure.
Yeah, just haven't quite figured it out yet. And we may even change it in the meantime and see what does work best.
Right.
And that's, probably going to also depend on, how many people show up, how much participation we get. But, despite the fact we didn't get any calls today, I do
a lot of participation though, despite not getting calls.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And, to be honest, that's probably better. you never know. But yeah, everything, like, I'm really looking forward to, covering some other subjects and stuff in the next few weeks. And, even if people, like, that's another thing. If you have, like, a suggestion for a show topic.
Absolutely.
Like, you don't even have to answer a question. Just, hey, I'd like to see your thoughts on this.
Yep, hit us up.
That's all you got to do. Just
hit us up in the inbox. Leave a comment on the YouTube. Something.
Yeah.
We're on all the social medias.
Look at me. It's basically on Twitter and Instagram, the real UNN, and then on YouTube and Facebook and Twitch at just Untitled Nerd Network. So,
yep.
Yeah, absolutely. So I guess that's it for tonight.
You want to wrap or you want to talk something else?
You want to? I'm
care.
free. Hanging out here for a little bit longer. Absolutely.
It's whatever. It's not like we got a plane to catch or something.
No, not at all. Special. I was actually. Let's see. I'm trying to think. I don't know. I'm struggling at this point. I had a two-part
It's
lesson.
like when we stopped, it kind of the flow. The flow stopped as soon as we were like, hey.
Does anybody in the chat have anything they want to discuss? Like, it doesn't even have to be about you. Just, I want to, talk about...
James's friend.
Wait, what?
Remember James's friend when he was... I have a friend.
Oh, yeah. James's friend.
It's probably
that
James.
Is pretty funny, though. I'll tell you, let's see.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm trying my best here. Like,
well.
how am I struggling?
I know, we were on such a roll, and now it's like, wait a minute.
Yeah, I shouldn't have ever even said anything to begin with. I should have just rolled right into the next one. But, let's see. What do we talk about? I don't think we really, covered non-monogamy in a really thorough way.
We did, and we just kind of dabbed on it and jumped right into kinks.
Yeah. And that's another thing. Non-monogamy, that 100% is not for everybody. Like, I'm not on here saying everybody should be non-monogamous.
No.
But at the same time, it doesn't deserve the toxic...
hate it gets, really.
Yeah, non-monogamy right now is really, especially if you're on dating apps and stuff, it has drawn super heat from a lot of people. And,
not to mention, it's just become more mainstream, too. Like, compared to when we first started our non-monogamous journey in polyamory, compared to when we started it to now.
Oh, my God. I bet the number of people who either practice it or openly talk about it has probably quadrupled in that time.
Yes, absolutely.
Whereas, 5 years ago, 4 years ago, you never would have seen that even mentioned on a dating app.
Yeah.
But now, like, you'll go on there and you'll see people openly say, and there's even people who are like completely monogamous who will put on their dating app, if you're polyamorous or already have a girlfriend or boyfriend, then just go ahead and swipe left because you're not for me.
Right.
It's getting that
But
kind
you know
of attention.
what? That's fair. And that's honest.
It is.
I would rather somebody put that on their profile than to be like, to have these types that I do come across that are like, well, I'm open to it right now because I'm only looking for something casual, but when I find something better, I'm going to be monogamous with that person.
And yeah, I've had that. I've actually had a woman not even a month ago or 2 months ago who basically told me, hey, I'm just looking, like, me and you, if we hit it off, good and everything, but I'm also seeing somebody else, and if it works out with them, I'm going to be monogamous with them. And I was like, I don't want to be your convenient, placeholder boyfriend for a while. No,
it's not a thing.
I'm good on that.
Angie's comment says, I know so many people that are open in their relationships and so much happier, but there definitely needs to be communication if that's what you want. And that's exactly right. Communication is so important in non-monogamy. You have to be open about everything. And you also have to realize that once you bring that up to your partner and you talk about it, even if y'all decide it's not for y'all, you have already crossed that bridge.
Oh,
and
yeah.
your relationship will never be the same. It'll never be the same. In the back of their head, in the back of your head, you're going to think about, hey, we talked about this.
Yeah.
And your relationship's not going to be the same. So you better make sure when you bring it up, you're ready.
And in the interest of full disclosure, it didn't work out for us the first time.
Mm-mm.
It didn't. I mean, I think we could be open enough about this.
No, absolutely.
On this show to kind of let people know, hey, it's not an easy street, because
it's not.
To be completely honest, I met somebody and I thought, hey, I want to be monogamous with this person, and I tried it out for a couple of years, and I'll go ahead and tell you that 99.99999% of the time, if you do that, the person you left is not going to be there waiting when it's over.
Yeah, Lonnie got lucky.
I was extremely freaking lucky.
He did, he got lucky.
Like, holy crap.
And I think the fact that we have dated on and off for so long is why you got so lucky.
Yeah.
That, and I'm a pretty forgiving person.
Yeah, you are. Very much.
But, I mean, but it's okay to fluctuate between those lifestyles if that's how you are, though.
You have to do what's comfortable for you.
I have a friend who, I don't know the exact term, but basically she's okay with either monogamous or polyamorous. She's okay with it. And there's a lot of people that are like that. They can be satisfied with a monogamous relationship, and if that doesn't work out, then they can go back to non-monogamy and it's not a big deal to them. If her partner decides that they want to be in it's really not, She flows between both lifestyles. But for some people, it's not like that. And it's okay to try poly later. Try poly and decide later it's not for you. There's nothing wrong with that. People talk about, I don't want to be someone's experiment and this, that, and this. Well, that's your personal preference, but there's nothing wrong with somebody wanting to try something out and see if it's for them and decide later that it's not. You just have to be open about it. That's the key, and it boils down to communication once again. You have to be open about it and be like, hey, I don't know if this is going to be for me, but I do want to explore the option.
Yeah, and you've always, you both have to be on board with it.
Mm-hmm.
You can't have one person diving in the deep end and the other person with just the toes in the shallow end.
Mm-hmm.
That's not going to work. You really, you both need to be accepting that is going on, and, not under the impression that, it's just a phase or whatever. Because I'll be completely honest. You're the one that initially brought it up to me, and
I did.
when the first time you did, I thought you were fucking crazy. I mean, I did. I was
I
like,
know,
what
it's
the?
so funny.
I mean, no, I don't mean that.
It's so funny to hear it, though. No, I'm not taking any offense to it.
Yeah, at the very beginning, I was
I
like,
bet
oh,
it did sound crazy.
You got to look at it. I was, 34 years old at the time,
Yeah.
and that was 34 years of programming saying that, hey, that's really messed up. And it took me a little
Not
while.
to mention you had like past experiences with non-monogamy that weren't great.
Yeah, very true. They
That
always
you have
ended
to
up. I was
bring that to light.
I was-
You had some very bad experiences with non-monogamy before me.
I think the experiences of non-monogamy were just the classic trope of, hey, let's open this up to save a failed marriage or something like that. It wasn't.
And you can't do
It
that.
wasn't like it was stuff where we were already on the outs and thought that was the Hail Mary pass that might save everything. When very much so, that is not the case.
No, it's not
That
the
is not
case.
going to happen. I feel like for you to make non-monogamy work, you have to be on that same page, and you have to be on a very solid footing, because the non-monogamy will cause things to wobble a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
If you don't have a solid foundation, you're going to fall.
Yep. Angie says, absolutely, if one person in the relationship is up for it and the other one isn't, it can become an issue where it can cause trust issues, and that's correct. Now, I will say there are people in the community who do have monogamous partners, but they are poly, and you just have to have a really strong relationship for that to work.
Yeah.
Some people it works for. I will say that, like, the majority of people I personally see try that, it doesn't work for them. But I've seen it in other poly groups where it works out. They're okay with it. So, but yeah.
Look at that comment.
Angie says, I can honestly say I was in a relationship like that. I ended up being a third in a couple, and when it ended, the woman in the couple admitted that closer to the end of the relationship, I was the reason they stayed together longer. And God, unicorn hunters.
Dun, dun, dun.
That's what those are.
I need like a horse sound effect
We
every
do.
time we mention unicorn.
Nice angrily.
Yeah.
But oh man, unicorn hunters, they're awful. I mean, it's one thing to hey Zero. Zero just climbed on me. It's one thing to tell a person, hey, we're looking for a third, we're trying to spice up our marriage, blah 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 blah. They're being ethical about it, but when you're not being ethical about it, you're a unicorn hunter, and that's what you experienced, Angie. I'm really sorry that it worked out that way for you. When Lonnie and I were first, started dating as an polyamorous couple, we thought we'd be cool and try to date together too, and that did not work out either. And for us, it was because we ended up on two separate occasions with two different women that were only pretending to be into me just to be closer to him. And eventually their end goal was to push me out.
Yeah.
Now granted, I'll have people say, oh, that's probably not how it happened, because, it does kind of sound far-fetched and made up, but, I could never make this shit up.
No, that was really the case.
It was really the case. So, and they were like, let's just have him date us. No, that's not what we're about. We're not trying to make a close triad here.
Yeah.
Like, a triad's nice, but I
It's
don't
just
want it
monogamy
closed.
with one extra person.
It really is, and I'm not about that life for sure. But
Now, also at the time, we did have what they call a one penis policy, because I was really struggling hardcore with jealousy issues at the time.
which is
Normal. That's
normal.
That is very typical.
But one piece penis policies are, ugh. And I'll say that I thought I could manage that. I really did. I was naive in thinking a one penis policy would work for me. And it does not work for me. It worked until it didn't work. You and I have had that discussion. Yeah. And, like, I'm very much into the kink lifestyle. And, you know, Lonnie's a soft dom. And he doesn't always have batteries for it. And sometimes, you know, sometimes if I go more than a week with just like vanilla sex, I feel like I'm dying inside. So here we are. So that's one of my biggest coping mechanisms for, you know, my mental health.
Yeah.
And yeah, I totally like. I really frown upon anybody that uses a one penis policy because it's like, so problematic. Not to mention it's a little transphobic. So, I don't even want to talk about it anymore.
Unicorn hunters.
That's perfect. Yes. That is perfect. Every time we mention a unicorn hunter, it's what we're gonna play. Oh. That's funny. Fucking unicorn hunters.
Oh, fantastic. Okay, well, I do think we're actually done now because we're coming up on 9 o'clock.
Yep, Angie. So, do you guys have a set of rules for your relationship?
Ooh, good question.
Kind of. Yes, we do have some boundaries. Rules. I don't like the term rules because it's just like, this is it or the highway. And it's not like that. We do have some boundaries that we do. I personally use condoms with other men. Just because, one, I don't want to end up pregnant. Two, I want to be fluid bonded with people that I'm like in a very serious committed relationship with. I don't want to be fluid bonded with people that I'm just dating. Like, there's dating and then there's serious and long term for me.
Yeah.
And if we're just dating and we're not committed to each other, it's definitely condoms for me. I would say that's pretty much it. I don't know. You can remind me of any other boundaries you might have?
I don't know. Like, I know, that was something that we had, like, discussed together.
Right.
I'm trying to think. Like, I don't, we really have, like, I mean, I guess there are, we do have, I mean, do we? I would assume.
I would say, okay, another boundary, I guess. It's flexible. It's not really a rule. It's flexible. So boundaries to me can be pushed a little bit. One of your off nights during the week is for me.
Yes.
Because
100%.
You work nights, I work days. We don't get a whole lot of time together. So one of your nights at your office for me. One of the weekend daytimes is for me.
Yeah.
Other than that, like,
I know, and I don't know if these are boundaries or rules per se, but there is like some semblance of a do not sleep with list. You know,
right.
there is a very select few group.
Yeah, I like draw the line at family for sure.
I'm not talking about that, Jesus.
Well, no, I don't want nobody dating family. Well, what's wrong with that?
Oh, never mind. I thought you were making an incest joke.
No, because your mind goes straight to the gutter, obviously.
Okay, so yeah.
I do draw the line at, like, family and
like
some close friends. Other close friends I'm good with. It really depends on the mental state of the friend.
Yeah.
Because I know that some friends, the friendship would never be the same.
Oh,
and
yeah.
I know that some friends, it don't matter. We gonna be there to the end.
Yeah.
You know, I won't name names, but
Yeah.
you know who those people are. Um, I actually like it better if they're friends because I don't have to try to establish a friendship with a new person.
Yeah,
You know.
I do. I am one who gets attached to people really easily, but
Mhm.
at the same time, I have no moral issues or any issues whatsoever with having platonic intercourse.
Mhm.
Like, I have no problems with if I'm just friends with somebody, just having some sex for fun. Like, I mean, I've done it before. You know,
And you'll probably do it again.
yeah, I'll probably do it again next week. But there are certain people that, and I mean, to be honest, I do have, I fall in love easy. I
Mhm.
do, and
I
you know,
have. I
there
don't always, but I do.
there are some people that I'm using air quotations. I love, but we're friends. You
Mhm.
know, it's not like, oh, I'm madly in love with you, we're committed partners, blah, blah, blah. It's like, you know what? You're an awesome friend and I love you. And we have sex. And it's not like,
The line for platonic intimacy and romantic intimacy is very very thin for me because there's not much difference in it for me. I'm an all or nothing kind of person.
yeah,
Even with friendships, people I'm really close to like that, that's just how I am. You know, it's more like the only difference for me, but for a platonic intimacy and romantic intimacy is, I guess if we're romantically intimate, you're a little higher on the list. I mean, that's about it. That's about all I can say. Is you're a little higher priority on the list, I guess. That's about it.
yep,
Because there's nothing I wouldn't do for you that I wouldn't do for a friend.
yeah.
It's about how I feel about it.
Yeah, so I mean, that's, I think next week's going to be a juicy one, I think.
Oh yeah.
Next week, one of the topics I do want to talk about, toy use in the bedroom.
That's fun.
I think that'll be a fun one. I
Mhm.
really do. Because the toys, even
Toys
though,
used in the bedroom, toys etiquette when you're is a good one.
yep,
All the good stuff.
a big part of that is there are still a lot of people out there who will use toys only by themselves, or it's still a taboo subject with a lot of people.
Mhm.
Even people who, enjoy porn and, all this other stuff. When it comes to toys, people feel threatened and stuff like that, and that goes both ways. I've seen women threatened by, male masturbators, and I've seen men threatened, probably a little bit more so, by
Yeah, I'm sure it's more of a male presenting problem.
the $300 trillion a year vibrator business. So
Right.
I remember there was I was gonna save this till next week, but I'll go ahead and tell the joke now. There was a Rodney Carrington stand up where he asked, he was like, all right, how many women here at the show? It's like 3,000 people in the auditorium. He's like, how many women here, use toys? And like a handful of people, women, like clapped. And he was like, yeah, bullshit. He's like, it's like a $200 billion a year sex toy business and 4 women keeping it going.
That's facts, though. That's facts. That is facts.
But yeah, that's what we'll talk about: toy stigma, etiquette, stuff like that. Because there's a lot of talk to be had of toys.
Yes, there is.
But if you have another topic, I like having an A topic and a B topic, just in case we
Oh yeah.
run out of stuff to talk about. In addition to any possible calls or letters or anything good like that. But if you would like to hear something specific discussed next week, we are right here towards the end of the program. Feel free to.
I see
send
some
us-
people joining in the chat last minute. Guys, you missed it. Tune in next week, please, because it's a lot of fun. Because I'm not gonna name names of who's watching, but they're on my friend list, and I know it's 2 people that would really enjoy something like this.
Well, they don't
please,
have
by
to
all
watch it
means.
live. It's going to be archived here in a little bit. It'll be,
Mhm.
up there on YouTube
Yeah, you can watch it again.
and Facebook for all to watch. You'll probably get just about the same experience out of it anyway, because we didn't really take any calls tonight or anything.
I'll
But we did have an
probably-
awesome chat audience.
Yeah, we did. I'll probably next time y'all out too. I'll send it to y'all too, so that way you'll know when we're live.
Alrighty. Well, we will. I guess we'll go ahead and wrap up. And oh, you know what? You know how like all that time, you remember I was wanting to do like my own fancy little sign-off thing.
Oh God.
I've got one, and it's just kind of like it's like the Bob Barker, spay your animals type thing.
You gonna just rip him off because that's a good cause.
It is, but
Okay,
at the same time, I don't want to. I want my own thing. I don't want to be Bob Barker Jr.
No, that's Drew Carey.
or Drew Carey.
Anyway.
Drew Carey the third,
Third.
or whatever.
All right, what
Drew
is
Barker the 15th.
it? What is it? Let's hear it.
Be yourself.
Oh, okay. Be yourself.
Yeah,
Whatever works
and
for
you know what? That hits pretty hard with me
It does.
because it's been a little while. But it's taken me some
You're
time.
You're just now really coming to terms with yourself, is what it is.
Yeah, very much. I was like freaking 37 years old before I finally was like, you know what? This is who I am.
Mhm.
True. I mean,
True
it's,
story.
Yeah.
Be yourself. Pretty solid.
Yep. But that's the thing I'm going to remind everybody to do at the end of a stream. And I figured, what better night to debut that?
Yeah, and just remember, be yourself. All right, I'm Amberlicious.
I'm Lonnie.
We're Untitled Nerd Network, and this was our first episode of Roll for Intimacy.
Yay! Everybody have a good rest of the night.